All right, everyone, welcome to this webinar series on D2L with Dave. I'm Dave, if you can't tell from the thumbs up picture. This is session number 1. Now, the reason why we're calling it session number 1 is we're going to be hosting some more of these sessions later on to go over some different topics like assessment, communication, developing content, and then hoping to get into some subject-specific areas as opposed to just the what D2L can do for you. But today we're looking at discovering D2L and exploring all of the features that Brightspace has to offer. Now, one thing to kind of throw out there right now, my name is Dave Gomes. If you're not sure who I am, that's okay. I'm our technology-enabled learning and teaching contact for the board. I work in the student success department at the board, and I am our e-learning liaison with the Ministry of Education and D2L. So I support D2L for classroom use and its use in e-learning. Today's session is going to be different in that it's going to be more of a what can I do inside of Brightspace, not a how to do it. So the other sessions I'm going to offer are going to be a lot more how-to based. This is just going to be like a shotgun approach of here's everything you can think about doing inside of D2L or inside of Brightspace. And then you can kind of wrap your mind around, well, does that work for me? Do I want to bring in that aspect or not? Okay. So there's going to be, again, further how-to video webinars that will be forthcoming, and I'll be sharing documentation with how-to instructions as well. So for everything that you could want to do inside of Brightspace. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is everything we're going to be covering today. So there's a lot of things you can see in the list. We're just going to go through them one by one. Some of them I'm going to share my screen and do a little demonstration for you right within the environment. Others I'm just going to use some screenshots and then again refer to some future webinars in order to gain access to those. Okay. So first one we're going to go into is what is Brightspace, and I'm going to turn off my my video just so you can see this a little bit larger. So you should be able to see the giant screen here, and I'm not sure why my slides don't look the nicest. I apologize for that. But basically, Brightspace is a learning management system, and it's developed by the company D2L. So oftentimes you'll hear people talking about D2L. I mean, our session is called D2L with Dave. D2L is actually the company that designed the product, which is Brightspace, kind of like Apple and Mac. So I wouldn't say I'm using an Apple, I'm using a Mac computer. But we commonly refer to it as Brightspace or D2L. It's kind of interchangeable, but Brightspace is the actual platform that we use. So when I'm saying Brightspace, it is the same thing as D2L. D2L is just the company. The Ministry of Education provides Brightspace to all publicly funded school boards in Ontario at no cost, and they refer to it as the VLE, or Virtual Learning Environment. And the reason why they do this is to provide consistency across all the school boards and make sure that every student has the same equitable access. So Brightspace is SIS integrated for course creation, account creation, and enrollments. And what this essentially means is that when you log into Brightspace, your courses should be there, your account is already created, and your students are already enrolled in your classes. They log in using Office 365, so it is safe and secure. You have access to resources and different tech integrations, so things like Turnitin, things like Gizmos. And you also have access to free technological and pedagogical support. So there is a D2L help desk that you can call or chat with at any time. We have a VLE consultant from the Ministry of Education, as well as D2L. And then you also have me, the TELP contact, who's supporting you in the pedagogical implementation piece. Okay, so that's what Brightspace is. So we'll look into how to log in. And there's essentially 3 ways of logging in. Of course, that covered up my actual link there. This is what I get for trying to edit everything in Office Online. So anyways, method number 1, you go to the publicboard.ca website, head down to that icon up here, online and blended learning resource site, and you click on that, and you end up logging in through Office 365. You can also launch Office 365 and then locate the D2L icon in your apps. You may have to go to more apps in order to do that. Or you can go to a direct link, which is gecdsb.elearningontario.ca. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to share my screen so you can see that. So hopefully you can see my screen. Paul, can you verify?
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Perfect. So if I go to the publicboard.ca, publicboard.ca, right, so I can scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there's this online and blended learning resource site. If I click on that, it'll work. Okay, I can also go into Office 365. And since I'm already loaded in, go up to my apps. And then from here, right, select D2L, and it loads me right in. Or you can go to this web address, which is gecdsb.elearningontario.ca. And I'm going to put that in the chat pod now, just so that everyone has it. Okay, so I'm sorry that that didn't show up on the screen here. Okay, but I've just posted that in the chat pod. So any of those three options will work. If you are already logged into Office 365, then you'll be automatically logged in to Brightspace, but it does work through the Office 365 logins. Okay. So next, when you log in, you'll be brought to the Brightspace homepage. And I have a feeling that my titles and my images are always going to overlap here, so I apologize for that. But so the Brightspace homepage is your main landing page when you log in. It allows you to see some system level links and activities, such as the master courses up at the top, the support widget on the side. And there's essentially three sections to the homepage. The first is up here. It's your nav bar. So hopefully you can see me highlighting the nav bar here that has a bunch of quick links. The mini bar, which is not what we would hope it would be, but the mini bar up here is going to be for your notifications, your profile, and to access your My Courses. And then the widget section, which is the bulk of the homepage, which actually has things like the My Courses widget, the support widgets, Office 365 integration, if we put system announcements in there. Basically, this is like if you were walking into a school, this would almost be like the bulletin board for your school. You haven't gone into a class yet. Maybe you're walking down the hallway and you see all these different links and things like that. Okay, so that's essentially what the homepage is. So let's move into the nav bar. And so the nav bar or navigation bar, it provides quick links to commonly used links or activities. So this nav bar inside our homepage is not something that you can modify. It's something that only our system administrator can modify. And it includes things like, K-8 activities, digital tools, if you want to access the master courses. Basically, they're things that you can use quickly that might be useful for you. The next section is the minibar, and that's in the top right-hand corner of that homepage. The minibar can't be edited again. It's consistent on every page in Brightspace, and it gives you access to your My Courses, which is right here, your alerts and subscriptions and update alerts, your profile right here, and your account settings. And then if you select where your name is here, you can actually get this drop down to view as a student, which is a very important and useful thing, because then you can view what it's like for a student who would be in your course. Sorry, guys, my kid just walked in. Okay, so you can view as a student and you can access the portfolio, things like that, and log out. Okay, so that's all located in the minibar. And then the bulk of the homepage is devoted to widgets. So the widgets here are located below the nav bar, and they are the building blocks of the homepage. So these cannot be changed by teachers. Again, this can only be modified by the system administrator on the main homepage, but you do have, it basically just expands the functionality of what you can access inside of Brightspace quickly. So the biggest feature here is going to be the My Courses widget, where when you get in, you can see all the courses that are already created based on Trevlac for you. If you don't have any of those, it means that you're either like an elementary Rotary teacher, or it's something where we're just not sending a course for you. So for co-op teachers, we only send one course. We don't send multiple, things like that. And if you're an OT, an occasional teacher, you wouldn't be enrolled in any courses here unless they're professional learning courses. But we're going to touch on it a little bit later, that we can create courses like sandbox courses and things like that for groups or PLC. Okay, so that's essentially the Brightspace homepage. And when you find your My Courses widget, you'll be able to access those courses and jump right in. Okay, so let's assume we're on the home page and we want to jump into My Courses. This widget here is going to show you all the courses that you're currently enrolled in. So right now I see all of the courses. You can see my D2L with Dave webinar series course, Lonke's Salty course. Lonke is Mr. Paul Lonke is a Salt, and then some of our e-learning courses. And again, these courses are automatically created based on our SIS, our Student Information System, which is currently Trevlac. That'll be moved next year. But now we can create additional courses. I can do that as the system administrator. And then these courses can either be viewed or unviewed by pinning or unpinning them, or leaving them inactive or made active. So the idea of making a course active means that students can see the course. If the course is left inactive, then students cannot see that course. So you can go in, make changes that you want, and students can't see them. So then students are automatically loaded into these courses in the class list as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do before I jump into the nav bar, I'm just going to share my screen again and jump into the virtual learning environment here in Brightspace. And hopefully you can see this. You should see everything that that we just kind of described up here. So this is when I logged in initially. This is the nav bar up at the top, where if I click on this, it will bring me to, you know, a quick link to something like Master Courses. My mini bar up here, where I can click here and see all the different courses that I'm in. This would be for my emails and instant messaging. I can go in, view as a student if I'd like to, right? All the different features of the mini bar that we just kind of showed. And then below that, we have all of our widgets that load up. Now in the widgets here on the main page, the most important one is My Courses. You can explore the other ones. This over here where it says Got Questions, Find Answers Here. When you click on that, that brings you to the D2L support chat. And then you can see in My Courses, these courses all have images, but if I scroll down a little bit further here, notice this says course started inactive. And that just means that students cannot see what's going on in that course. And that's just because it was a course that we had running semester 1. Okay. Now, all of these courses are pinned. And if I don't want to see them anymore, I can simply unpin them. So if I select this pin icon, that goes away and we don't have that anymore. But if I want to pin a course, I can go up to this select a course, search for it. And then I can pin that again and it will be right back for me. Okay. So this is that home page. Now, if I want to go into a specific course, I just click on that course and it brings me right into my course, which will look somewhat familiar, but it now has a little bit of a difference. So I'm going to jump back into my presentation. And so now we're going to look in, once you've jumped into a course, go into the course nav bar. And the course nav bar is similar to the system or the home, I guess the Brightspace overall main page nav bar. But this nav bar can be edited by the teacher that owns the course. Now the default nav bar, as you see above here, that's included. It's a standard order of useful icons. But for teachers who want to modify that, you can remove or add links. You can add what are called linked groups as well. So if you wanted to group 3 or 4 of those things together, you could, instead of having 3 or 4 icons, you can do that with 1 icon. And then and it's all going to be based on what your students want to access more regularly. And then the nav bar can be modified to remove the icons and just have the words there as well. Okay, so that's the course nav bar. We'll go into the course homepage, which again, similar type of style, but now what you can do as a teacher, because you own the course, you have the ability to control the homepage of your course. So you can remove or add widgets that are useful. You can change the layout of the widgets, and you can modify them to suit the needs of your teacher or your students. So for example, in e-learning, we always have a Meet Your Teacher widget right here, so that the students can see their teacher. In a face-to-face class, you don't usually have to do that. So you can change the width of some of these columns here, as you can see in these two setups. You can change the banner that we have as the image, or you can remove that altogether. So you can change the layout here even throughout the semester. It doesn't just have to be a one time at the beginning of the semester and it's set in stone. If there's something you want to modify, you can do that. You have the ability to do that. Okay. You can also create custom widgets if there's something you want to post in there, like a week at a glance or a meet the teacher, or you can load in a Twitter feed widget. Whatever you want to have in there can be done, and you can do that as the teacher. It's not like the system level one. Okay. So I'll jump into the next one, which is going to be a navbar and homepage demo. So I've already shown you how to pin and unpin courses. I'm just going to show you very briefly something about the navbar, the homepage, and then we'll look at a standard homepage where we can add in an announcement and an activity feed post. Okay, so I'm going to hop into this course again. And hopefully you can see everything here. Now, notice you see a bunch of icons across the top. If I select show more links, then it's going to show more icons in there. And I added a bunch in that I want to remove. So when I hover over this nav bar, I'm going to select this 3 dots and then go edit this nav bar. And when I do that, it's going to show me all the different links in the nav bar. I can just click on them to remove them if that's what I'd like to do. And if I also don't want to have the icons in there, I can just toggle off enable icon-based navbar and the icons go away. Click save and close, and you can see all of those are gone. You can get the more drop down for that instead of it dropping down with the icons. If I want to add the icons back in, I can go back in, edit the navbar, enable icon-based, save and close, and you get the icons back. So it's quick and easy to do depending on what your needs are as a teacher. This thing too, below this, you can also change this banner image. I can also change the banner text. But if I want to change the image, you can update that weekly, you can update it monthly, or you can just remove it if I don't want the banner in. Okay. Next thing, if you want to remove something from the widgets, so I want to remove this system notice that I posted in, I can scroll down to the very bottom. There's the little 3 dots here, and I can go edit this homepage. Now, I will say there's one extra step you usually have to do in there that I'll show in a further video. But now I can see that there's a layout for these, for the widgets. So if I want to change that layout, notice there's a bunch of different options. This is the one that I have selected right now, so I can drag widgets into those different sections. But I can play around with that if I want a different layout. And then if I want to delete something, I just hover over the X, select the X, and it's gone. Or I can move that, let's say over here, save and close, and then it just reorganizes the layout of everything. Okay, so you can see there, beautiful little meet the teacher picture there. And there we go. Okay, so now I want to show you the primary way of posting things in your class in terms of communication with your students is announcements or activity feed. Some teachers use both. Some teachers use one or the other. It's totally up to you. And again, I just showed you how you can remove those widgets if you don't want them. So the first thing I'll do is create an announcement. So I'm going to toggle on this and go new announcement. And there's one feature I really want to show you here. And I'm just going to give this a title, announcement demo. Come down into this, and this is a rich text editor, so I can put hello everyone. I can change the font, change it bold, whatever I want to do. I can load in links if I want inside here, but the important link that I want to add in when I select this, so I guess I can say I can insert stuff. If I select insert stuff, there's a lot of things I can add in. If I do this, this is for inserting an image, and this is for inserting a quick link. And quick links are things that already exist inside the Brightspace course. So I'm going to go to insert stuff, and the powerful piece I want to show you is this add video note. So if I go to add video note, what it's going to do is open up a webcam. And if I select new recording, it allows me to record up to 30 minutes of video. So I'll just select new recording. It'll start recording my video here when I select stop. So I'll just select new recording. It replays it for me. I can give it a title and select next and then insert it. And it's just saying, yep, media file is currently being transformed. But if I publish that, then go back to my home page, what you'll notice is that video should probably already be embedded in there. And I can just click on it to play. So I'll just select new recording. It'll start. Okay, so very powerful in terms of announcements for students. You can insert whatever you'd like inside here. Notice I was playing around with a link inside here, another video note. And these can always be downloaded. So once you've got that, you can download that and or make it full screen. It's a really powerful tool to use in the online classroom. The other one over here is activity feed. Now, I should have said first, I can attach documents inside here too. I can load up anything, and we're going to cover that in a later video, but not today. In activity feed, similar type of thing, you're going to select create a post, and you can either create an assignment or a message right from here. And it'll open up this page. I can say, hello, everyone. Notice here I can allow comments as well. So students can comment back and forth, or I can turn off the allow comments. I'll leave it on for now. And then I can attach, and notice all the different things I can attach here. I can upload a file, an existing activity from within the course itself. I can load in a web link or a OneDrive file or a video from the web. Right now, I'm just going to do a web link and say youtube.com. YouTube and insert, of course, that part. We'll go insert, post it, or we can post it later at a later date. And then you end up seeing there's the post in there. Students could click on this and comment it. And this I can also pin to my top post if I want. So then that way, everything else that I post will go below that. Okay, but this is essentially your home page. There's some other widgets down here that you can add in, like a calendar. You've got the content browser if you have content in there, a course overview that can show you class engagement or when students have actually accessed your course last. So if I toggle inside here, I can see how many people have logged into this course. It should only be 3 at this point. But basically, that's your home page. You can customize it however you'd like. There are some things you can do, and it's basically all up to your creativity and what you'd want to share inside that home page. Okay, so I'm just Paul. Are there any questions from the chat that you think are worth going over right now?
We had a couple questions about steps, and we know that we can have courses set up for our steps classes. The question is there pre-made content for steps classes? And since all the students are in different IEPs, how exactly would content work with those classes?
Okay, so that's a great question. Our next session is going to be on developing content. What I will say is that I don't think there's anything specifically for gains or steps classes developed. However, what you could do is you do have the ability to create groups within Brightspace, and then you can do conditional release of content to specific groups. So if you have a group of 3 students that's working on the same thing, then you can create an activity for them and then release that only to that specific group of students. So that would probably be the easiest way of doing that. And then there is also, so I know that the expectations are available for any type of content inside here, but you can also create your own learning goals or expectations and tag those to content items. Okay. So I think that hopefully that answers that. And maybe we can go in a little bit detail later on. But I want to be cognizant of everyone's time. So I do want to press on for now. Okay. So let's go to content next, because I know that's where we kind of were just talking about, so it kind of fits. So all courses have the ability to load in or create content that can be viewed directly within Brightspace. And the reason why I want to stress that so much is you don't have to download any files that are put into content if they're put in properly. So if you attach a PDF file, it will load it in and you'll be able to see the PDF file. If you put in a link for YouTube, it will load the YouTube video and embed it right in there. And I find that that's probably most important because we don't want students leaving the environment when they want to access their content. So you do have the ability to load in your files from OneDrive or Google Drive or your computer, wherever you've got them. And there's different file types that you can see. You may not be able to see all the different file types here, but there's an HTML document, which is what you use to create your own documents right in there. And those are, again, they're viewable inside the web browser, so you don't have to download a thing. You can put in video links or attach from Google Drive or OneDrive. You can also load OERB quick links. So if there's things that are in the OERB that you want to link to, you can load them in right from there. And you can also create or add discussions or assignments right from within there as well that exist in your course. Now, the other part to it is this idea of lesson structure. So you don't just want to dump all your files in. You want to create lessons and units so that there's a hierarchy of folders. So you've got, unit 1, then activity 1, and then underneath that, you've got all your files in there. Okay, so there's the ability to create folders within folders in order to support that. Okay. Now, I know that's a quick overview of creating your own content. I really haven't showed you how to create that. That's, again, a next week type of question. And I'm sorry that this page looks so ugly, but so the content, there's also ministry courses that are available. There's over 120 full courses that are available from the Ministry of Education. You can see the two styles right here. This is the older looking style. The content is okay, but it's not updated into a newer format, so it may not work on every single device. But the newer style of courses, which there's over 60 of them that were developed just from 2016 to 2019 alone, they work on any device. And you can see this is one that I was working on over here. So they're all done in 3-part lessons, and yeah. All of the content can be aligned with Ontario curriculum as well, so that right here you can see the expectations coverage. So when you load in all of your curriculum expectations, you can tag each of those lessons or each of those activities with a curriculum expectation, and then by the end of the course, you can see what percentage of those expectations were aligned with different pieces of content in your course, just to make sure that you're hitting everything. And those load in overall expectations and specific expectations as well. Okay. All right. So very quickly, I'm just going to hop in and demo some of the content. I'm not going to demo a ton of it, but just so you can see what it would be like if you were starting with a pre-made course or a course where you need to create your own stuff. So I'm just going to jump into MCR3U master so you can see what that looks like. So you'll notice, again, same navbar, same general homepage, but when I go to content here in the navbar, you can see the structure of the files here. So they're color-coded, so you know that they're a different unit. So here you've got introduction to functions, and then these are the different lessons inside. So let's go to representation of functions, and then we can select the content, and that will load up this 3-part lesson. So mine's on action consolidation. You've got interactive parts to it, and you can view that full screen if you'd like, as opposed to just viewing it in the browser. But again, it is still viewing it all in the browser as opposed to bringing you out somewhere else. So if there's a YouTube video, it's embedded. It doesn't bring you to YouTube. Okay, so that's one of those types. I'm going to go to MBF3C master. And so this one's created in 2012. It'll be an older style of format. But again, this remains consistent. The navbar, the home page, the defaults remain consistent. This still looks the same. You can see units. Let's go to unit 4. And this one is activity 1. So just give me 1 second to open that up. My computer, of course, is slowing down. And this is what the older style of course looks like. So it has an overview, expectations, content, and assignment. So your content is in here. The learning would be done in here. And these are all just done using HTML pages. Okay. So that's what preloaded content could look like. If you're looking at creating your own content, I'm just going to go into my sample course for training, and we'll go into content here. And I've created some content pieces inside here, but basically all I've done was I created a new unit, and when I create that new unit, I create lessons inside each of these, and then I add in some content. So I can copy in from somewhere else, or I can create a new lesson or a new unit. So I created new unit 3 at the bottom that's kind of blank, created a new lesson. And if I'm under here, I can go add, and it gives me all those different opportunities to load in things. I can create a new lesson. So we'll call it lesson 5. You can give a description if you want and save it. And then inside that lesson, which is almost like its own folder, then you can go in and add a new document or add an assignment or add a discussion or just upload a file from the bottom. Okay, so that's where you would go to create all of your lessons. Notice here, the great thing about this is there's a little eyeball with a slash through it right now, and that just means that it's hidden. So if I'm creating content that I don't want students to see at this point, I can leave it as hidden, or I can just toggle it on and now it's visible. Okay, so it's quick and easy to make things hidden or visible. All right, so that'll be all I share with content creation today. I know there's probably a ton of other questions about that. And if you are looking for which courses are available, I guess I should show you that first too. Let me share my screen again. If you're looking for which courses are available as the master courses or the preloaded content, if you scroll up to the top of the main course homepage, or the main homepage, not the main course homepage, there's an icon here titled Master Courses. And when you select Master Courses, it will show you all of the different courses that are available in the business and computer science here. So these are all the courses that are available based on the year that they were created. So you can see some of them are pretty old. And down here, I think someone was mentioning BTT was a new one. BBB4M is a new one, and BTT 1.0 is a newer one. Okay, so you can view which content is available in there for secondary. Next, we'll look into some of the features that that Brightspace actually has to offer. I know we're probably gonna run a little bit over time. I'm gonna do my best to get you out of here not too late. But let's head into discussions. So basically discussions, they have a specific location in Brightspace, and they're used to gather students' thinking while it's not an assignment. So the way that we do this is topics are grouped into forums. So you can create a forum on like Unit 1 or a specific theme, and then you create topics within those forums. Students respond to the topic question in their own threads. So they create a thread, and then others can respond to those discussion threads to keep the discussion going. And if you've ever taken an AQ course, very similar to that. Now, there are some features that we use in online learning where they're optional, but they're very useful. So you can create group discussions if you have created groups already. Then you can create a group discussion so no one else outside that group can see that. And so if you have discussion groups for Unit 1 that are different from Unit 2, you can create those different groups, assign the discussions, and then you've got a 4-person discussion as opposed to a 30-person discussion, which makes it very useful for small group. Next, you can set it so that students can post anonymously. Now, you as the teacher can still see who that student was that posted it, but other students can't, which takes away some forms of risk from students if they don't want to share certain things. You also have the ability to toggle on that students have to post something first before they can view other students' posts, which is so useful in terms of plagiarism. If you don't want people seeing other people's responses, then toggle that on. Very easy to do. And then posts can also be assessed and aligned with curriculum expectations, which is always useful. Okay, so I know, again, we're going to go through pretty quickly. I promise these are not spelling mistakes. I think I just put the icons so close to the actual, to the titles that when I loaded the PowerPoint in, they didn't show up nicely. So I apologize. This should not say assignment. It should say assignment. But assignment folders can be created for students to submit work to. They can be aligned to curriculum expectations again and linked in your gradebook. These can be assigned as individual or group. And then the different styles, you can have students submit a file, so a file submission. They can submit just text, or they can submit an observed in person option. So if you have a conversation with a student, you can actually toggle off something that says observed in person, and then the student doesn't have to submit anything, but you can still give them an assessment inside there. Okay, and then there is a great feedback and annotation tool that can be added in directly on an assignment. So when you have an assignment that someone has submitted, you can open up that assignment and you can write all over it. You can highlight things, you can add in text comments. And again, this is all done right within the browser where the student has submitted the assignment. Okay. Next, the class list. Your class list is populated with all of your students based on their roles, so teacher and student roles. You can view their progress right from within here. If you click on a name in the class list, it will start sending them an email. And then you can also impersonate students specifically. So I know earlier I showed you can view as a student, but here if I want to view something like Bruce Banner and I want to impersonate him just to make sure I know exactly what he sees if there's a problem, I can do that from within the class list. And you can also add in other students, teachers, administrators, into your courses if you're doing something like team teaching. If you have multiple sections and you only want to have one class with all those students in there, there's an option for that as well that I can help with. Okay. Next, in terms of progress, you get detailed progress updates on students. So you can view a whole class, or you can see an individual student's progress summary that includes what they've done in the course, how long they've spent in the course, which content items they've visited, how many discussions or assignments they've submitted, all of their marks, their login history. You have all this data that's available to you right from within the progress tool. Okay, in terms of quizzes, so folks, I actually think I know what just happened here. I think I was, in terms of the titles, it's not showing my cropped pictures. So I have those pictures in, but it didn't crop them nicely when I put it in here. So anyways, that's just an aside. You have the ability to quiz. So everything that you could normally think of in a quiz, true, false, multiple choice, multi-select, it'll auto mark it for you. One feature that's very useful is that quizzes auto save while students are answering them. So as you go along, there's this little checkbox that goes, if a student's put in an answer for number 1, but they haven't submitted the quiz yet, if they get kicked out for some reason and they go back in, they still have all of their answers pre-saved in there. So it automatically saves their course as they're going through, or automatically saves their quiz attempts right as they're going through. You can also set it so that students have multiple attempts for each quiz, or you can set a limit on the attempts. But there's just so much you can do within this. It's very easy to create. Again, this is going to be something we cover in one of the videos moving forward. There is a built-in portfolio as well. That similar to, you scan a QR code, you can take a picture using the D2L portfolio app. And students can also access the portfolio from the minibar. So when they click on their name, there's a link that says My Portfolio. The feather icon that looks like this in the nav bar is actually used for the teacher to go in and view the portfolio items of their students. Okay, so students won't see this icon. They will only see it if they go to My Portfolio when they click on their name in the minibar. Okay, but students can attach pictures and record video and audio reflections in that mobile app, or they can just attach a file inside of the, if they're on a desktop doing it. Teachers can set it so that they have to approve evidence, and then they can tag it with curriculum expectations on portfolio items. But the portfolio is pretty useful in terms of that. And one useful thing as well is that it creates an individual portfolio for every single class that the student's in. So if a student has a portfolio that they only want for their math class and they want for their English class, they have that available. Okay, next, quickly, grades and awards. There is a built-in grade book that you can use to assess against. You can change weightings at any time, similar to any other style of grade book. Some people use this and then export that directly into Markbook. You can use the gradebook inside here. You don't have to, but it has it available. And then you can also use awards. So based on certain completions, You can manually or automatically assign students awards based on doing something. So maybe they posted in 10 discussions, they get a discussion novice award, and complete the orientation and they get a different award. But you can create awards and assign them out to students. Okay, I know we're getting through the last few here. I promise only be another few minutes, and then if there's anyone who wants to stay and ask a few questions, we can do that. But the virtual classroom, which is essentially what we're in right now, we can do synchronous learning, right? You can set up meetings, share out the link, and people can come in for those meetings. The nice feature about this, and I want to stress this, is at the end of your meeting, we never want to have students inside the meeting place anymore. So we want to make sure that we can end the session and it disconnects all users. So that means students can't linger behind and engage in some form of bullying or anything like that. But basically you can see the type of functionality that I've been using here. I've been able to share my webcam very easily. I've been able to share my screen and go back and forth between that and an uploaded document. I can put in a poll if I'd like to. Basically, can do all of those different things. So on the screen, if you have this, I'm going to initiate a poll and just tell me, are you learning anything from this? Yes or no. If you'd like to just toggle on some of that, I'll leave it open for another 5 seconds. And when we've got that, we'll select close poll, publish results. You can see them at the bottom there. So you 61 out of you, 100%. Look at that. That's awesome. Okay, so very quick and easy to put in that poll like I did. Okay, next thing, I'm not going to go into detail with this, but there is instant messaging and chat available inside of D2L. That's in addition to the email feature. So you can do synchronous or asynchronous chats or instant messaging. And so there's multiple ways of communicating with students. There is another webinar series or another webinar that I'm going to be doing on communication where we look more in depth into that, when it's appropriate to use instant messaging, email, and chat. Okay, and then a few things that are just kind of administrative in nature. There's these things called intelligent agents where you can automate emails that generate based on specific criteria. So the way that we use them a lot of times is if a student hasn't logged in in 3 days, they get an email that's automatically generated, sent to them that says, hey, you haven't logged in. Maybe we should, or whatever you want to type in there, and then it's a personalized email, but the student thinks it's personalized for them, but it's just automatically sending to everyone. You can release awards using intelligent agents, things like that too. The other thing too is, again, I know I touched on this a little bit, but merging classes into sections. So if you have 3 sections of the same prep and you want to have one course where you're sending everything to, but all of your students in one location, you can do that. It's almost like the posting to multiple classes, but you can do that in here and you never even have to worry about that. So if we set up your class that it has section 1, section 2, section 3, you can post things that are specific to section 1, 2, or 3, but you only are ever maintaining one class. And then the other piece to it is we can create non-sys generated courses. So if there's a PLC group that you want to use, if there's I don't think right now we send K courses up, but if there's a course that you want for steps, we can create that. I know we've used it for something like for primary art in the past, where it's like grades 1, 2, and 3 all are in the same class, and the teacher just puts in individual pieces in there. But you have the ability to do that, or I have the ability to create those courses for you. And another thing too is I can create sandbox courses. So a sandbox course is a course that you can just play around in and not have to worry that students are going to see anything or be worried if you ruin something in terms of your content. Okay. Now I know I rushed through a lot of that. The last thing I want to touch on is this thing called the Brightspace Pulse App. And the Brightspace Pulse App is basically a D2L app that you can use, or that students can use to control their schedule in terms of what's due when. They can access their course right from within the app, and you can also have it download content and view it when you're offline. So if they set that up when they're on Wi-Fi, it kind of creates a little cache of that, and then they can view that offline. Very useful to do, and it works on any device. So the Brightspace Pulse app, we haven't really pushed that too much, but it's a phenomenal feature that you can use. Okay, so I know I'm about 6 minutes over, and I apologize for that, folks. I know with the little technical difficulties at the beginning, I'll make sure that on the other sessions that are going to follow, that doesn't happen. But so feel free, you can stay on if you want. I'm going to stay on and answer as many of the questions that are here. If this was useful, then great. Send me an email and let me know if there's anything else you'd like covered. And I hope that I think there might be something coming out later with access to more of the sessions. So, Paul, if you've got any of those questions, I'll answer them now. Otherwise, thank you everyone for joining, and I hope this was useful for you. I know it's going to be a lot. There's going to be some information coming out further as well. So again, thank you for coming out, and I'll stay on for a few more minutes to answer any questions, but I'm going to turn off the recording now.